Myself Dr. S Mohammed Nazeer. This class I am going to teach you international economics. In international economics, International Economic Organization. The Great Depression of 1930s and World War II led to purely nationalistic policy in which almost every country imposed trade restrictions, exchange controls and exchange depreciation so as to boost exports and restricts imports considerably. The Bretton Woods Conference proposed IMF, World Bank and International Trade Organization in 1944. The IMF and World Bank were started in 1945. Instead of International Trade Organization, an interim arrangement was made and named GATT, G-A-T-T, General Agreement on Tariff and Trade. The GATT was transformed into WTO, World Trade Organization, from 1995. Let's see the institutions and its headquarters and year of establishment. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, headquarter, Washington DC, year of establishment 1945. World Bank, Washington DC, year of establishment is 1945. World Trade Organization, Geneva, 1995. Let's see in detail International Monetary Fund, IMF. The purpose of International Monetary Fund is to secure and promote economic and financial cooperation among member countries. The IMF was established to assist the member nations to tide over the balance of payment disequilibrium in the short term. The main reason for establishment of the IMF is to solve the problem of the disequilibrium balance of payments. At present, the IMF has 189 member countries. Okay, let's see the objectives of International Monetary Fund. Number one, to promote international monetary cooperation among the member nations. To promote the international monetary cooperation among the member nations. Number two, facilitate faster and balanced growth of international trade. Faster and balanced growth of international trade among the member countries. The third objective is to ensure exchange stability by curbing competitive exchange depreciation. Okay, so the maintaining of exchange stability is one of the main objective of IMF. The next one, to eliminate or reduce exchange controls imposed by member nations. In order to solve the balance of payment disequilibrium, the member countries are imposing the exchange controls. So the IMF will eliminate or reduce these exchange controls. The next objective is to establish the multilateral trade and payment system in respect of current transaction instead of the bilateral trade agreement. Okay, this is one of the objectives of the IMF. The next one is to promote the flow of capital from developed to developing nations. This is an important objective. The flow of capital from developed to developing nations. The next objective, to solve the problem of international liquidity. Okay, these are the main objectives of International Monetary Fund. Let's see the functions of IMF. Number one, bringing stability in exchange rate. The International Monetary Fund is maintaining exchange rate stability and emphasizing the devaluation criteria. Okay, the function of International Monetary Fund is bringing stability in exchange rate. Number two, correcting balance of payment disequilibrium. The IMF is helping the member countries in eliminating or minimizing the short period disequilibrium in their balance of payments, either by selling or lending foreign currencies to the member nations. So the correcting the BOP disequilibrium is one of the main function of International Monetary Fund. The next one, the determining par values. IMF enforces the system of determination of par value the currencies of the member countries. According to the article of agreement of the IMF, every member nation should declare the par value of its currency in terms of gold or US dollar. In terms of gold or US dollars, every country want to show their value of their currency. This is called par value system. Under this article, the IMF ensures smooth working of international monetary system. The next function of IMF is balancing demand and supply of currencies. International Monetary Fund is entrusted with the important function of maintaining the balance between demand and supply of various currencies. The IMF can declare a currency as scarce currency which is in great demand and can increase its supply by borrowing it from the country concerned or by purchasing the same currency in exchange of gold. So maintaining the demand and supply of currency is one of the main function of the IMF. The next function, reducing trade restrictions. The IMF also aims at reducing the tariff and the trade barriers imposed by the member countries with the purpose of removing the restrictions on remittance of funds to avoid the discrimination in the practices. So in order to solve the problem of balance of payment disequilibrium, the countries are imposing the barriers, what we can say the tariff and quotas. So the IMF will reduce this. So automatically the smooth flow of trade will take in place. At the same time, the member country can solve their problem of the balance of payment disequilibrium. The next function is providing credit facilities to the member countries. The International Monetary Fund is providing different borrowing and credit facilities with the objective of helping the member countries. These credit facilities offered by it include basic credit facility, extended fund facility for a period for 3 years, compensatory financing facility and structural adjustment facility also provided by the International Monetary Fund to its member countries. These are the functions of International Monetary Fund. It can be grouped under 3 heads: financial, regulatory and consultative function. Okay, let's see what is SDR, special drawing rights. Special drawing rights, SDR. The IMF has succeeded in establishing the scheme of special drawing rights, which is otherwise called paper gold. They are a form of international reserve created by IMF in 1969. So the SDR created in 1969 to solve the problem of international liquidity. SDR is the special drawing rights. It is created by IMF in 1969 to solve the international liquidity. They are allocated to the IMF members in a proportion of their quotas. SDR are used as the means of payment by IMF members to meet the balance of payment deficits and their total reserve position with the IMF. Thus, SDR act both as an international unit of account and a means of payment. It is international liquidity and it is a means of payment to solve the balance of payment disequilibrium. All transactions by the fund in the form of loans and their repayments, its liquid reserve, its capital, etc., are expressed in the form of SDR. Okay, this is the meaning of SDR. Now I am going to explain the facilities offered by the International Monetary Fund. The first facility, basic credit facility. The IMF provides financial assistance to its member nations to overcome their temporary difficulties relating to balance of payments. A member nation can purchase from the fund other currencies or SDR in exchange for its own currency. To finance payment deficits, the loan is repaid when the member repurchases its own currency with other currencies or SDR. A member can unconditionally borrow from the fund in a year equal to 25% of its quota. In its quota, a member country's quota, in its quota, 25% they can borrow to solve their problem of disequilibrium balance of payment. The second facility, extended fund facility. Under this arrangement, the IMF provides additional borrowing facilities up to 140% of members' quota. If member have 100 rupees quota, it can getting the loan from IMF 140. This is called extended fund facility, over and above the basic rate facility. The extended facility is limited for a period up to 3 years, and the rate of interest is very low. This is another facility given by the IMF. The next one, compensatory financing facility. In 1963, IMF established compensatory financing facility to provide additional financial assistance to member countries, particularly primary producing countries facing shortfall in export earnings. Okay, in 1981, the coverage of the compensatory financing facility was extended to payment problem caused by the fluctuations in the cost of cereal inputs. So, the IMF is financing the compensatory financing to its member countries. Buffer stock facility. Every country is maintaining the buffer stock system, buffer stocks, food grains. For maintaining that also, the IMF is giving some help. This is called buffer stock facility. The buffer stock financing facility was started in 1969. The purpose of this scheme was help to primary goods, food grains producing countries to finance contributes to buffer stock arrangements, stabilization of the primary product prices in their own country. The next one is the supplementary financing facility. Under the supplementary financing facility, the IMF makes temporary arrangements to provide supplementary financial assistance to member countries facing payment problems relating to their present quota size. The next facility offered by the IMF is structural adjustment facility. The IMF established structural adjustment facility in March 1986 to provide additional balance of payment assistance on concessional terms to the poorer member countries. In 1987, the enhanced structural adjustment facility was set up to augment the availability of concessional resources to low-income countries. The purpose of SAF and ESAF is to force the poor countries to undertake the strong macroeconomic and structural programs to improve their balance of payment positions and promote economic growth. So, these are the facilities offered by the IMF. Basic credit facility, number 2, the extended fund facility, number 3, compensatory financing facility, number 4, buffer stock facility, number 5, the supplementary financing facility, number 6 is the structural adjustment facilities. Let's see the achievements of IMF. The main achievements of IMF are establishment of monetary reserve fund. The IMF has played a major role in achieving the sizable stock of national currencies of different countries to meet the foreign exchange requirements of the member nations. IMF uses its stocks to help the member nations to meet the foreign exchange requirements. So the first achievement is establishment of a monetary reserve fund. The second achievement, monetary discipline and cooperation. The IMF has shown keen interest in maintaining the monetary discipline and cooperation among the member nations. To achieve these objectives, it has provided assistance only to those countries which make sincere efforts to solve their problem. This is the second achievement, monetary discipline and cooperation. The third one, special interest in problem of underdeveloped country. The notable success of the IMF is the maintenance of special interest in the acute problem of developing country. The fund has provided financial assistance to solve the balance of payment problem of underdeveloped country. However, underdeveloped country continue to be underdeveloped country, while the developing country have achieved substantial growth. Okay, these are the achievements made by the International Monetary Fund. Now I am going to explain you India and International Monetary Fund. Till 1970, India stood fifth in the fund and it had the power to appoint a permanent executive director. So, India had a power to appoint a permanent executive director in International Monetary Fund. India has been one of the major beneficiary of the IMF assistance. It has been getting aid from various fund agencies from time to time and has been regularly repaying its debt. India current quota in IMF is SDR, special drawing rights, 5,821.5 million, making it the 13th largest quota holding country at IMF with shareholding of 2.44%. Besides receiving loans to meet deficit and balance of payment, India has benefited in certain other respects from the membership of the fund. India is getting what we can say, solve the problems of its district level balance of payment. Other than this, India has benefited other aspects also. Okay, in this class, we seen International Monetary Fund, its objectives, its functions, its facilities, its achievements, and India and IMF. Thank you.